No. Rift Herald goes down in mid lane, and that's not going to be enough. We already see another engage from CoreJJ coming through, and Ezreal ultimate misses everybody as well, and Breezzyy eventually takes out the Sona, his So second time attempting to record this now, but hopping into the game. As I was mentioning previously, we have a really interesting matchup in the mid lane with Breezzyy and Draven69 playing against one another. Both of these individuals are not typically playing mid lane, so it should be a pretty interesting matchup considering the fact that mid lane, even though it's not the most powerful position as it was in seasons past, is still a pretty big controller of the game. We know Annie has some great roaming power as well as Seraphine, depending if they land those really influential ults from each of them. So I'm interested to see if those two will just kind of chill in their lanes this whole game and try not to feed and, you know, perform badly in a position they're not typically in. Or if one of them will really come into their own in this game and control the pace of the game as mid lane can really end up doing. Of course, our main attraction in season 11 is really going to be looking at the junglers. We have Billyyyy versus iCandy. Billyyyy, again, no pro experience. iCandy is a actual professional player for an academy team, so we'll see how this ends up. But we already have a slight little poke fest going on from our Pokebot lane here in GonzO and Suffix, trying to step a little bit deeper into this jungle, and they might be stepping too deep because they don't see CoreJJ coming behind them and landing a solid knockup, at least on GonzO, who has to flash and use his heal. He's trying to kite away from CoreJJ, but more poor poke going down on that Sona. CoreJJ ignites GonzO and is now chasing after him. He has his W up again, and it flings him back into his Varus to the bot lane, who is eventually going to net that first blood within the first 2 minutes of the game. Not great. We were talking early game about how Varus is kind of coming in his own as a dominant AD carry in the bot lane, and we've really been seeing people build him multiple ways. I've been seeing AP Varuses, AD Varuses. AP Varuses take a little bit longer to come online, and with how short season 2021 games are, it's pretty obvious why a lot of people aren't preferring to build Varus AP, but it looks like we're going to get the AD variant here. A little bit more front-loaded power into the game. Won't scale as well as AP Varus, but would potentially be a solid pick considering they have the 3 AD champions on their team now with this AD Varus. So first blood goes over to him. They don't go for the early back because they don't want to miss farm. More aggression coming out from CoreJJ in the bot lane, and I'm sure DT, I don't even know what to call this Varus. I'm sure Varus is very pleased to have CoreJJ on his team. There's still 2 summoners down in the bot lane. CoreJJ did bust his flash and ignite as well, but he does have that hex flash to still make plays just in case. So Suffix and GonzO are going to have to be so careful down here. They are playing on their turret. They're going to hope that it lands there and try to freeze the lane. 41205 and Bejjaniii in the top lane. Pro player in Bejjaniii versus not a pro player in 41205. Both very proficient on their champions, but as we mentioned previously, Bejjaniii has over 100 games on Fiora this season and has found a lot of success with her. So I'm more than expecting that she's going to have a pretty easy time in the top lane. Of course, Kled is not the most common champion you see, but Bejjaniii can... Oh, I thought we were going to see it there. Bejjaniii can, with his riposte, his little E move that shoots down a line that he can kind of avoid any CC and damage that is coming his way, can at any moment make sure that he doesn't get pulled in from that Kled. It's really easy to riposte, so we'll more than likely see that as the game continues here, considering that it's going to be basically a free stun anytime Kled wants to engage on Bejjaniii. So I really don't know how this matchup is going to play out because at least these 2 champions aren't what we see most commonly in the top lane in season 2021. But I'm putting my money on Bejjaniii to win this lane. And as I say that, he demounts the Kled. He does get the stun off of him as well. And it looks like it's going to be an easy kill as he's procced most of his weak spots on the Kled. Meanwhile, bot lane, here comes iCandy onto the Ezreal, who has no summoner spells once again, and is able to lock him up and finally take all the health off of him and bring him down for a second time this game. Here comes the wave from red team as well. They're going to crash it into the turret, and Ezreal, who's now already spawned with these early game respawn timers, is still going to miss about 10-15 of these farm right here. So really not what you want to see is Ezreal. Ezreal is another champion that's going to be scaling up throughout the rest of the game, and he needs a pretty decent early game to get to his power spikes earlier. And with 2 deaths already, him being shut out from a lot of farm and being killed twice and losing all this EXP, it's going to take a much longer time for him to come online, which sucks. which is just going to be rough for the blue team because when it comes to AD damage, we are balanced out throughout the team with Kled and Nocturne, and I'm really hopeful for Billyyyy to have a pretty decent time this game, considering he has an 80% win rate as jungle. But just having your AD carry your consistent damage just really on the back burner is going to be rough for the blue team going forward. So already 3 kills coming down the way of the red team. 2 of those going to Varus, our newly found AD carry in the bot lane. An additional 1 going to that solo kill in Bejjaniii in the top lane. So yeah, as I mentioned previously, now that Bejjaniii has that 1 kill, he hasn't... oh, he actually has. He has gone back to kind of capitalize on that buy, and really, Kled's going to be in a terrible spot here. He might go down a second time if Bejjaniii gets 1 more gap closed and procs the weak point, but a good flash away from 41205 will let him survive this 1 battle. And now both of them are about 100 health. 41205 is about to mount, so he'll get some health back, but we see Nocturne in the top lane also making his way up to Fiora, who has basically nothing here. She doesn't have her post available for her, so she's going to have to gap close away and just try to waste some time. She does ultimate the Nocturne and get all 4 of the procs off, so now she's healing. There's the riposte finally, and Volibear, iCandy is making his way into the fray. Both of the blue team are going to have to run away as fast as possible now. Great movement from iCandy to go in there, and 1 final weak point proc on the Kled will take him down, and Nocturne just barely gets away thanks to his speed boost from his Q. Moving slowly back into the jungle, and will more than likely have to take this farm in top lane. And finally, from Iron also goes out on Gonzo once again, but that ignite on Varus is going to take him down from the last auto attack from Sona, but Ezreal falls at the same time. Unfortunately, the kill goes over to Sona and the shutdown gold as well. And from Iron knows, CoreJJ knows that he more than likely can win this battle against the Sona with no mana, and he's trying to do as much as he can, but he's not going to have enough cooldowns to make anything work there. So a 3rd kill going over to Varus, the 1st kill finally going over to enemy bot lane. Great ultimate from Breezzyy in the mid lane, showing that he knows how to play this champion. He plays lots of Seraphine in the bot lane, playing support, and is able to win that against the Annie. Let's go back real quick. If I want to see, I mean, it looks like overall, Draven was overstaying here. Gets hit by a double Seraphine Q to bring him pretty low. And we know that our ultimate is such long range that I'm sure Breezzyy is just hovering right now, that range indicator, to see if he can reach Draven at any point here. And Draven steps up. He flashes. He ult flashes, which is pretty advanced. Take a quick note of that, all you Seraphine players. You see he started the ult first, then flashed into it to move it into the direction of Draven 6969. He gets jumped on by Billyyyy here, but he's so healthy, and Billyyyy has no mana, that it was really all for naught. Kind of a wasted Nocturne ultimate, all said and done. And Seraphine's happy to take that win. Nocturne might head to the bot lane now and potentially start Dragon, but we see that the enemy team is aware of his presence making his way down there. And Volibear will more than likely take his blue and then check, but no, red team's already moving into river to see if they can spot out this Nocturne. And now it looks like they're going to take advantage of the fact that they have the numbers here and more than likely try to take this first Dragon. Nope. Just clear out river ward, see if there was a counter gank available. Here comes CoreJJ with a Hex Flash onto Suffix, followed up by another stun, and so much Varus damage with him already having Noon Quiver and a pickaxe, is able to take her out with about 3 procs of his Blight on her as well. She goes down pretty easily there. Sona's such a squishy champion, not one that you typically see. Here comes a potential turret dive as well. This is what happens when your bot lane is losing so bad and you have 2 tanky champions in jungler and support, is that turret dives are very viable. Here comes oh my gosh, a Kled ultimate in the middle lane out of nowhere, taking out Breezzyy. You see that as the minions were pushed in the top lane and he had the opportunity there, evening out a kill for him, and happily will probably go back to his bot lane and lose no farm there. Bot lane's back, push to turret. I'm surprised we haven't seen Candy go for a dragon yet, considering his bot lane is winning so heavily, and his mid lane previously got that kill also. So hopefully we'll see a dragon coming out pretty quick for the red team. But it looks like bot lane here for them with CoreJJ and Varus are going to keep pushing their advantage. They're already almost 3 plates in. Great use of Hex Flash. Sona was unfortunately aware of the fact that he more than likely was going to try that little trick over the wall and gets out safely, but all the while just losing so much EXP in the bot lane. Bejjaniii getting a slight flank after killing that ward on Kled here. And Kled, while he does have some defensive stats now, it's more than likely not going to be enough for him to win this battle. We already have a Sheen on Fiora in the top lane, as well as a Caulfield's Hammer. So she's going to be outputting a lot of damage, even a level ahead now, just barely from 412. So really at any moment, I would think that Bejjaniii can really start abusing this top lane as long as he knows where the enemy jungler is, which he doesn't right now. No wards in the top lane. He's going to have to play a little bit more safe, or else we'd probably see him 100-0ing this Kled pretty handedly right now. He has his ultimate available. He has no summoner spells, but now that is Kled. So I'm kind of surprised to see also that he's not taking more advantage of that. It looks like right now all of our lanes are just trying to farm up, excuse me, and CoreJJ is doing such CoreJJ things and warding deep in the jungle. We're about to review that kill, but I just want to show all of us. Let me make sure. CoreJJ is smart as he comes back to lane, is warding deep down here in the enemy jungle. Beautiful offensive wards, honestly. But at the same time, we see Sona and Ezreal are aware that Varus is all alone, and a flash ultimate from Sona, pretty reminiscent from that Seraphine ultimate we saw in middle not too long ago, is enough to lock him up for long enough with no minions in front of him for Ezreal to output a bunch of damage onto him. And now a second kill going over for the bot lane on blue team. Some fight happening in the mid lane or in the river for the Scuttle Crab right now. More than likely won't end in anything, but an ultimate going down on Bejjaniii as he's all alone over here. Gets 100 to 0 basically from that Nocturne, and then finally Annie bursts him down with one more spell using her ultimate. Might have wanted to save that, and now GonzO and Draven are going a little bit too deep here. 3 versus 2. The rest of the blue team is on Dragon, and now we just see red team completely annihilating these two after a nice win. Finally getting a pick for the blue team and almost a second dragon if everyone would have just been on the same page there. But now with those 2 additional kills on GonzO and Draven in the mid lane, or excuse me, Annie in the mid lane named Draven, the first dragon's going to end up going over to the red team instead. That was a pretty solid area to hopefully start turning the tides of the game back into the blue team's favor, but clearly a miscommunication. That's just solo queue things happening right there. On the blue team side, ends up netting them, instead of a one kill and a dragon, 1 for 2 and a dragon for the red team instead. So a 4th plate going down into the bot lane, and a teleport coming in as well, more than likely from the Kled. But what Kled doesn't know is that iCandy is already here waiting for this gank to happen, and that teleport. We get a nice demount off on Kled, but we have Varus going down so low. Finally, Volibear is almost able to take out Kled, but it's not going to be enough. GonzO almost steps a little bit too deep here, and he eventually does because of that super long-range Seraphine ultimate that ends up pushing him back into the enemy team. We have all of red team now down here. All of them, what seems to be a little bit better of communication, or at least being on the same wavelength than the blue team does. First turret ends up falling as well for the red team after that nice play, and all the while Nocturne's trying to get anything. Hold on, huge ultimate from CoreJJ comes in. He's holding the stun. He finally lets out the stun. We do trade a kill onto Varus, going over back to Draven or Annie in the mid lane, but also we finally see Sona going down. Another flash and vault coming in from CoreJJ, and that's 2 kills for the red team mid laners. So a 2-for-1 trade going down, all kills going down to both mid laners in this game. They're going to walk away happily there. Great engage by CoreJJ from Iron on that Rell in the bot lane. Another Hex Flash engage. He loves using Hex Flash. So I mean, honestly, if you're on the opposite team of him, you always have to be careful of any wall that you're around that is Hex Flashable. While all that was happening, it's good to point out as well that Nocturne was taking out the Rift Herald, so he does have that available to him. He's immediately going for a gank in the top lane, more than likely wants to kill this Fiora to hopefully push it, but he's immediately spotted out by the Scryer Trinket. Has to get out of there. Nothing more is really going to happen. And honestly, if they're not careful, Fiora could more than likely turn it on both of them. But he instead opts to use his ultimate on the mid lane here. Great peel from CoreJJ, and an ultimate from Ezreal coming across the Varus will be not enough to kill the red team. Instead, they flip that kill back onto Billyyyy on the Nocturne. That's the second Nocturne ultimate that we saw concluded no kills. And now the turret being disabled by the Volibear ultimate. We have another 4 members of the red team down in the middle lane to take out once again GonzO on the Ezreal, his 6th death already this game. And now we get a lockup on Sona, followed up by CoreJJ once again, getting additional CC. Will they chase Draven onto his 2nd turret? There's no stun available for the Volibear, and almost getting peeled out, or killed, excuse me, by the Varus Q there. Draven will have to walk away happily with him just not dying. We still see scuffles happening in the top lane as well. As mentioned previously, Bejjaniii is just so far ahead at this point. He already has his first item built that he has to basically own this lane. He flashes in after pulling the flash from 4-1-2 on Kled just about 30 seconds previously, and ends up netting the kill, and he'll more than likely end up getting his top turret, while also red team is taking down the middle turret here. And now 2 turrets for red team. We don't even have plates down yet, I want to say. I mean, how many plates has the blue team got so far? They've gotten 1 plate in the mid lane, so all of this plate gold going down on the red team. They have at least 13 plates worth of gold for them already. And oh no, Rift Herald goes down in mid lane, and that's not going to be enough. We already see another engage from CoreJJ coming through, and Ezreal ultimate misses everybody as well, and Breezzyy eventually takes out the Sona, his counterpart as well, fighting in the mid lane. Draven's going super low. He has no ultimate available to him, so really all that team fight power is gone. Another huge stun coming out from CoreJJ, and again, 4 members of the red team in the mid lane before blue team could even converge there. Ends up netting them a 4-for-0 trade. And just great communication, great movement. Everybody is, as soon as there's any trouble happening for any member on the red team, the whole team starts converge is what it feels like for the blue team. And honestly, what happened was blue team dropped the Rift Herald in the mid lane with really no regard. I don't understand why that Rift Herald went down, because it was just slowly walking towards the mid turret. And while the rest of the blue team was trying to defend that Rift Herald, CoreJJ ended up smelling blood, right, and just engaging on the additional members there, just trying to push the Rift Herald into the turret. So super infuriating if you're on blue team. More fighting happening in top lane. I don't think 41205 wants this fight unless he has the Nocturne to help him out as well, which he does. No kill ends up going on to Bejjaniii here, and 3 members of the blue team end up getting a shutdown onto Annie, thank goodness, because we need her to really take off here and land some pretty solid ultimates for them to win the game. A little bit of cheese happening. Blue team hoping that, again, somebody's going to come protect this turret in top lane. But it looks like all the red team members are towards the bottom side of the map. They might even be going for this tier 2 bot turret, knowing that the majority of blue team has just converged. There we go. Almost said convulsed. Converged on Fiora, Bejjaniii in the top lane. But it looks like they're going to go for their own little bush camp here. Hoping to find anyone. Bush camps are so strong. Do this at any level. If you have a sweeper, or if you have a pink ward and you know that you're in a commonly trafficked part of the jungle, like red team's doing right now, then always try to go for these bush plays with these stacks. 41205 gets jumped on and now is getting bursted down by the Varus and CoreJJ as well. Finally uses his ultimate, gets a stun off, and then Varus with his 7 kills is able to net his 8th kill there, doing so much damage thanks to his Kraken Slayer and all those Blight stacks following up with a Q. Really no chance for the Kled, who's now on his 4th death. He's really trying to finish any item, poor guy, right now. And they're going to happily walk away there. We missed the second dragon, apologies for that, but it looks like second dragon also went down about 30 seconds ago while all that fighting was happening in the bot lane, and Kled ended up getting murdered. And now, with all these kills and these dragon leads, we see about a 10k gold lead for the red team. Really rough. Volibear is able to kind of play between turrets. Volibear so strong also when he gets ahead like this, because you can just build full tank Volibear and still be popping out so much damage. That's why a lot of people like him. That's why a lot of pro teams opt to still pick Volibear when he's available, because you can have a true tank that ends up doing a massive amount of DPS. And even with the nerfs from Turbo Chem Tank, he's able to be a pretty solid beast. We see another converge happening on the top lane here. 4 members of red team. Blue team's only aware of about 2 of them. We do have a ward though that is spotting out the Volibear, and they're going to have to push off this tower, because just like we've been seeing all game, all 5 members are moving as one unit for the red team and trying to get this final tier 1 turret. And ultimate comes off on Bejjaniii in the top lane. He tries to parry the Nocturne Fear, but he's not able to. That's a huge cooldown for Annie, but also a huge kill as well. A nice kill going over for the blue team. And another one going over Annie's way. Here comes a teleport, though, from Breezzyy, as well as Volibear moving on to the Nocturne. Finally here, so much damage being outputted on him. And we see also CoreJJ in the backline, I believe. No, I'm sorry, that was Breezzyy in the backline going down to the blue team. Blue team trying to flip this, but CoreJJ gets another triple stun off on them as well. Trying to do as much as he can. Varus putting out so much damage. He's getting focused down by the Kled, and now also the Sona, he goes down. Now blue team is up 3 for 2, trying to chase down the tankiest members of the red team. Volibear tries to move in as well, using some of his shield damage, but it's not going to be enough. He has to back out. We see red team also a teleport coming back from Bejjaniii. CoreJJ getting jumped on by Kled is eventually going to go down, and also iCandy trying to flip it, but now here's Bejjaniii to hopefully turn the tides of battle for his team. He knows he needs to take out GonzO as fast as possible. He gets locked up and socked up and rocked up finally by 41205, but not before taking out Suffix on the Sona Support. A 1-for-1 for at least with that teleport, but overall a 3-for-2 win for the blue team in their favor. A nice little flip there. The biggest thing was we were able to get off at least 2 of these shutdown values from both Breezzyy as well as CoreJJ. towards the blue team. So we even up gold by the most minuscule amount of about 1k. We see additional movement happening from Candy in the top lane. I don't think he knows that Kled's actually in this bush. So still no turrets going down from the blue team, even after a solid team fight win. And honestly, it's going to be an uphill battle even after that. They need to keep finding wins like that, keep finding early picks on individuals like they just found on Bejjaniii in the beginning of that trade. And hopefully they'll be able to turn the tides of battle here. But really, it's going to be super rough for them, especially considering, again, that Ezreal is really still not even online right now. He does have a Sheen as well as his Muramana, but a lot of his damage is going to really come after he has 2.5, 3 items. And we're really just nowhere near that point of the game right now for blue team. So potentially this might be a Baron attempt. We're converging 4 members of the team onto this lonely Kled who has no wards available to him. He does pop down a pink ward and eventually dodges the Varus ultimate, but that doesn't matter because he has 4 additional people on him. The turret gets shut down once more. Nocturne comes in for some reason. The Nocturne Feed Express comes in 4 members as well, trying to help his teammate. I don't want to be too rude here, but honestly, that Kled was as good as gone. And after Kled's dead, now it's just you versus those 4 individuals. And as I mentioned previously, now we see that with 2 people being down on the blue team, red team's going to already start this Baron. His Sona ultimate is whiffed, I believe. Yeah, Sona ultimate was whiffed just previously. There's some question mark pings coming out from Iron. CoreJJ trying to zone out his team, the enemy team, as we have about, what, 5,000, 4,000 health left on Baron here. Blue team's trying to pick and poke and do all they can, which is good with Ezreal, but now we've engaged fully on Annie, who ends up staying alive somehow and actually killing out CoreJJ as well. Volibear solo, but he ends up smiting the Baron before the blue team has the chance to get in here as well. And 4 kills going over to blue team, but the Baron going over to red team means that gold split there is basically even. The only person with Baron left is going to be Breezzyy on that Seraphine in the mid lane, who is now being chased down by both Ezreal, Sona, and also Nocturne. He needs to try to run away here, and hopefully he will be able to kite. There's no Nocturne ultimate available for about 5 more seconds, so if Billyyyy stays within eyesight here, he should more than likely be able to kill him, but he's going to opt to hopefully go take the dragon instead. It looks like he's actually going to take the blue buff and allow his Ezreal and Sona to take that dragon. That's good high-level macro play, but I would, me just being me, I would more than likely want to be safe here and make sure that I secure that dragon. Did blue buff end up going over to Seraphine anyway? Did she steal that? What an animal. What an absolute animal in Breezzyy. He ended up stealing the blue buff away from Billyyyy, who was trying to get as much gold value as he could. But overall, a nice little steal there from Breezzyy. Dragon still goes down the way of blue team, and that's going to be an Ocean Dragon. One of the most valuable dragons for sure in season 2021. Honestly, every dragon that has been taken so far, Mountain, Infernal, and Ocean, are all pretty strong dragons. Wind Dragon is just kind of the stinker of the bunch, so we'll have a little bit more sustain. These battles really aren't lasting the longest. Billyyyy almost gets caught out here and has to Stride Breaker away. But another huge ultimate and lockup from CoreJJ ends up getting 3 of them. He's almost going down, unfortunately, as well. The Seraphine ult completely misses, and then eventually Billyyyy uses his Nocturne ultimate to get in the backline onto CoreJJ and Bejjaniii, who Bejjaniii is able to flip that back onto him after killing CoreJJ. Eventually, 2 members of the blue team go down, both Draven/Annie and as well as Billyyyy. And now, oh my gosh, Varus just outputs so much damage, both onto Ezreal as well as Sona, and now 4 kills down for the blue team. 4 kills accrued for the blue team. Will now move over to red team, getting another solid push here. The only member to die for red team was CoreJJ on Rell after that humongous ultimate coming out from him and lockup. And that's, here's what happens when you get so far behind in a solo queue game. I feel like as support is that the enemy team will start focusing you because you're the only one they can hope and pray to kill, having so much less gold than the rest of the team. And that after that great engage is what happened to CoreJJ. It's still great for the red team, considering that, hey, if you're going down as support and you're going down first as support, that means a lot of damage and damage output and cooldowns are being wasted on you. And clearly the rest of the team fight should, if you have a decent team, right, go in your favor. And that is what happened just now. So now, what we were 10k gold behind before for the blue team, now we're about 11k, almost 12k gold behind. CoreJJ trying to get as much vision as he can, which is definitely what you want to do in the late game. Just got in, says Josh. What team is CoreJJ on? CoreJJ is on the red team. He's playing Rell. His name is From Iron, number 2 ranked player in NA right now. Just playing, I believe he was on a boosted account. Actually, not a boosted account, but he was on one of those Riot accounts that helped you climb really quickly. That has since been fixed, but he's still been maintaining that number 2 in North America. So still clearly performing really well. And honestly, if you are just joining in on Twitch right now, thanks Josh for popping in. It's just been a slog fest for the poor blue team at this point. Bottom lane got so far behind early on. You can see 14 deaths total. Here comes a Nocturne ultimate into 4 again, just immediately gets bursted down by the Volibear, and now also suffix follows quickly as well. A huge Annie, both W and ultimate does some decent damage, but there's going to be no cleanup available for the blue team at all. They just don't have enough damage. Another lockup from CoreJJ ends up being an ace for the red team, and I would be surprised if this isn't going to be where we see the game wrap up. We should at least be able to get, hopefully, 2 inhibitors off that. I guess only being 25 minutes in the game, kill spawn times are not, spawn times, death timers are not that long, only about 15 seconds or 22 seconds for Nocturne, as well as suffix on that Sona. So hopefully we'll be able to get 2 inhibitors here for the red team. Almost a turret going down to Bejjaniii. I don't think Nocturne can step, even with support right now, on this Fiora in the top lane. He's going to need to just back off, and hopefully, as I mentioned, red team will try to get us an inhibitor, but no, again, everybody is spawned already for the blue team, so they'll back off. We only have about a minute until the next dragon, as well as a minute until the next Baron, as you can see above the map here. So they're more than likely reset here. They were going to want to get some wards up beforehand. You can see just vision game is being dominated from the red team. Will Bejjaniii get caught here? Will he be the one who catches Gonzo? Gonzo eventually has to flash and heal away. Oh no, burst both of his summoner spells once again. It's not like it's going to matter much because this boy is just like a paper-thin balsa wood airplane. Anytime somebody touches him, he's just going to get broken in half. So even less survivable for these next big objective fights that are going to come up. As I was trying to mention previously, look at this disgusting vision game that red team is winning right now. So much different vision around the map. We're missing one little ward there for them. But overall, as you're winning the game, this is what you need to keep doing. They're going to start bush camping again. They know this pink ward's here, so really that kind of thwarts that plan. But we're just moving as this death ball. Hopefully Billyyyy doesn't just jump into 4 people once again as this 1-6 Nocturne. CoreJJ leading the way for his team. They're going to try to get this inhibitor before the objective spawns. They more than likely can honestly end the game here if they get another big team fight win. So blue team's going to have to be very careful. Some pokes coming down from Varus and also poking coming down from Breezzyy on Seraphine in the mid lane. They'll take the inhibitor and start to back off as we assumed and start moving over for their first ocean dragon, their 3rd dragon of the game. They might try to get one of these cheesy bush camps off as they faux walk away into the dragon, but no, they're just going to play it safe and smart here and end up going for this dragon play. They need to be careful. You see that we only have 2 members of the red team going over to dragon while the rest of the team starts to move over to Baron. They don't want blue team to try to sneak a Baron here. Here comes Nocturne ultimate once again on the mid lane, but a great peel coming out from CoreJJ, and Zhonya's Hourglass keeps her safe. Sona ultimate does end up stunning her, and she's still going so far down. She gets off the ultimate before she dies, and she's eventually going to go down finally. No, she's not, to Nocturne in the backline, who ends up dying as well. And Volibear the whole while is hitting the backline and trying to kill everybody else here. Varus is trying to stay alive against this Kled, and he does get a huge burst Q off of him to save his life and ends up killing only one person, which is Seraphine in the mid lane. She ends up going down finally from that thirsty Nocturne, but with all of those kills and the final ace coming out from red team, we see them pushing down the final 2 Nexus turrets and eventually going to get their win here in this 28-minute 60-kill game in Challenger solo queue for North America. So really solid game. Goodness gracious, it was so hard to find a game today to cast because all of them kept failing. And unfortunately, it was a little bit one-sided towards the red team. But really, overall, I really wanted to showcase this game because, again, I've never casted a game with CoreJJ in it. We've only seen and done some analysis on one of his kind of pro games, right, and how he plays Rell, which clearly he did really well in this game as well. And then also, I wanted to really feature the Varus AD carry. I've seen a lot of, at least in my own games, climbing up through Platinum and now moving into Diamond. A lot more Varus making its way into the meta, and clearly had a lot of success here. 13 kills overall, 6 deaths only, and also 16 assists. Just getting a lot more popular. In the beginning of the game, I mentioned the fact that he was going AD, but you can see that towards the latter half of the game, he started building into ability power items with that Void Staff and that item that's escaping me that gives you attack speed and gives you AP as well. So really solid game. Hopefully you guys either start picking up Varus yourself if you play AD carry, or just at least being aware that he's more than likely to start making his way into your game. If you are watching this on Twitch, thanks for popping in. As I mentioned, Josh was in here, this mid laner, also a Twitch streamer, if you guys want to go check him out also. But I cast these live every Sunday, typically one game, and then we'll do an analysis as well, so pop in live. I also have Trey, my real life friend in here, Purple Haze, popping in. Thanks for the love, fam. And then if you're watching this on YouTube, of course, leave me a comment below of what you'd like to see next or who you'd like to see next. And that's really it for today. Thanks y'all for tuning in, and I'll have a great day or night or weekend or whatever it is for y'all. Peace.